Apologies for the mess on the workbench. I got started on this and realized I wasn't recording it. So I've got a client, been working on a belt. So it's a little basket weave stamp and hand carved, hand tooled holster I've got in the works. But he also wanted a series of bullet loops or bandolero uh, that I'm making here. So this is the template that I'm using, and I haven't peeled the paper coating off yet, but you can see that it's got that fluorescent green underneath it. Makes it super easy to stand out on your workbench. Here's an example of what it looks like when it's peeled. This particular template is for the 9mm 357 38 special, and so the total width of this thing is 2 inches, and then I've got lines here so you can line it up on a 1.5 inch belt, and then these little cutouts here are each 1/2 inch long, and they're perfectly spaced so that you can run a 1/2 inch 3/4 ounce leather through there and make your bullet loops. So he wants a special setup. He wants 6 and 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 5, 6 and 6, and he wants to be able to wear this on this belt. So I made this 2.5 inches wide, and I'm going to put a belt slot here, and then I'm going to put 2 in the center because he wants to wear this on his belt. So I don't have my leather wetted yet. I'm going to dye the pieces first and let you see what those look like. So anyway, more to come. This is the strap I'm going to use for the bullet loops, and I don't want it to just be plain, so I'm going to case this. And I don't know how much I'm going to need for the loops. I just cut a piece, and then what I have left over, I just trim off. So I know this is way more than what I'm going to need. So I did the belt in basket weave. So I thought I would do basket weave on this as well. I was going to run them end to end. I don't like that at all. All right, so change of plan. It's hard to hold straight. I don't care for that at all. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that off, and I'm just going to run a couple of lines down it on either side. just to give it a little accent rather than just plain. It's amazing how just this little accent mark really adds so much to the finished look of the piece. Some people would rather not. Take this extra step to do this, but to me it's worth it, giving the customer something that they can be proud of and show off. It's just that little extra, and I'm thinking maybe, depending on how much room I have, looks like I'm going to have a little bit of room, I might just go through down through the center and put a decorative stamp. See what that looks like. And there's actually a way to calculate how much strap you'll need. Simply, you can lay it out. It's super easy. I'm going to trim or cut uh, a whole strip off the side piece of leather, and so it's not like I'm only going to cut halfway down, because then the next time I need to cut like a piece for the back of a belt or some other item, strip, strap material, um, it's not going to be even. So yeah, I think I can get a stamp in there. I'm also trying to keep an eye on my pup. She's fairly new to the compound, and we just took her in to get her spayed, and so she's wearing the cone of shame as we speak, and it looks like she's tearing up the dog bed. Zeta, stop that. I don't know what it is about dogs and chewing up their dog beds, pulling the stuffing out of it. Zeta, no. Go lay down. All right. And then I'm going to take my Weaver Zero beveler and bevel these edges down. Now to do the back side. Try to get that little extra fuzz right off the edge. Mm-mm. All right. I wonder, that's just a little too wide. Let me see. Maybe kind of a pretty one. Let's see if that'll fit. I think it will. Let's see. That's going to turn out real pretty. Mm-mm. Zeta, no. Lay down. All right, so I'm setting up the bullet loops. This is for a 357 Magnum. So on this, I've already got the slots cut. Those are 1/2 inch slots. And so what I did was I riveted the one end just outside of the slots, the one end, and then take some of these rounds and kind of lay it like so. And this end is going to go through the same slot that I came through. Kind of tight, but that's the way you want it. You have to. Get your pair of needle nose, grab hold of that strap, pull it through. And then you always want to make sure to use an unspent round because the brass isn't elongated or expanded. So we've got that one set. Just keep pressure on that. And then I'm going to come back up through the slot here. Pull it tight. And then get the end back down through that same slot. If you have to do a little finagling in the slot, that's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. Let's get that started. Hopefully I can get on it with a pair of needle nose. Yep. Get it going. And then take another round and lay it in there. Square them up. Just pull it tight from the back side. It's just a little loose. I'm gonna pull it a little bit tighter. Like so. And then rinse and repeat. Look through there. Pull it nice and tight. And then tuck the end back down through the same slot that you just pulled it through. And if necessary, grab with a needle nose. If you'll notice, I trimmed the end just a little bit so it's kind of pointed. Makes it a little easier to get through that slot. And then after you get all of them loaded in there, you just let it sit and dry for a little bit. After I get this first run done, I'll go ahead and pull the shells out. So as it dries, it tightens up just a little bit more. Through. Make sure you pull it good and tight. Good enough through to grab with your needle nose. Make sure you don't get it twisted on itself. Pull it tight. Do the same thing again. Pull it up and through, nice and tight. Push the end back through the same slot. Grab it with your needle nose if necessary. And this is 3 to 4 ounce leather that I'm using here. 6 to 7 ounce here. Like so. And then I'm going to punch a hole for the rivet. Like so. Pop the rivet in. Why are you putting a rivet in right there? I'll explain why. This particular client wanted a double bandolero for his belt. All right, so that's still being wet. I'm going to pop those out. And they can start drying. And then I'm going to cut Cut that right there. So I got to put 2 slots in the center. He's going to wear this on his belt. Like so. And then we have pointed end here. We got the end pointed. And I need to pop a hole on this end. And drop a rivet in here. So all right, I'm gonna let this one more time. Dry it out on me a little bit. I like to wet both sides. It's entirely up to you, but here's a little bit more stretch. Just a little bit there that's not wet. All right. So the same hole again. Pull it through with needle nose. Make sure it's not twisted on you. Pop the shell in. This is, I think, 2.5 inches wide. And I offset the slots so they're not in the center, so that the bullet will have plenty of room to lay nicely. Pop it through there. Grab the strap, pull it through. Set your round in there. Pull it nice and tight. Up and through. Nice and tight. This is just one method. I mean, if one wanted to sew the loops on, they definitely can. But I learned this method from an old timer, and he swears by it, and so that's good enough for me. Pull it tight. Tuck it down in the same slot. I don't know if we got enough to grab hold. Oh, just barely. Grab around, pull it through, nice and tight. And one more time. Nice and tight. Back down to the same slot. Grab with needle nose pliers, necessary. You might have young hands and can do it without, oh, pull it down too far. I'll get one in there. Oh, yeah. Nice and tight. Back up through. Nice and tight. And then back through. Same slot. Grab what we did in those pliers. Push around in there. Pull it nice and tight. All right. While you're pulling it nice and tight, go ahead and pop my rivet hole. It is grab my rivet, my hole. Pop the cap on there. Got it seated. And like so. And then here, cut off this little extra. Not cutting through the body. There we are. Ta-da. And so I'm going to put 2 slots here and then slots on the outside. And that way he can put it on his belt and run his belt through here, through the center, and then over here to the edge. So, ta-da. All right, so I went ahead and pre-cut the slots in it. And this is going to be the backing. And then I'll just need to Glue her up. And I don't know if you can see the pencil line. I just loosely traced around the outside of the front piece. Give me an idea of where to put the glue. I'll lay it on here and put this glue on, and then let it tack up. And then set that down on there and get her stitched up. And try to brush up past the edge and not come from the edge to the center, just to try to prevent as much glue from getting on the edge as possible. All right. Let that set up, and then we'll tack her down. The glue's tacked up. And like here, I got a little bit extra glue seeping through the front. As it dries, it'll just rub right off, so that's no big deal. And I want to keep the back as flat as possible. That's why I put the top down on it. Get my little roller. Roll all this down nice. All right, now it's just a matter of trimming that edge off, that excess here.